Okay, so welcome to today's webinar Wednesday, and a different one we've got this week, haven't we, Alistair?
We have indeed. We've got Fionnathan joining us today, and we've just done a new funky intro with the countdown. Let us know if you like that, rather than us not being sure when the broadcast starts. That's all good.
To be honest, I thought that was a bit like Christmas. I thought we were going to be singing Jingle Bells on there.
Yeah, it does seem a little.
You know what happened, Alistair?
What?
I went to the shops and I came back with some Christmas kitchen roll by mistake.
That should be against the law. Until November, everything should be. The very latest should be looking at is Halloween at the moment.
World's gone mad. World's gone mad. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. What a disgrace. Anyway,
when you were in the shop, were you wearing this?
Oh, I'll get one in a minute. I'll get one. We can both put them on. What was that you said? What I was going to say, the other thing I was going to say there was, for anyone who's interested, we're also different this week because we're going out on 4 different platforms.
I know. Hence, I put up the Citizenfest logo rather than just the In Control one, because we're just all over the place.
Because we are broadcasting as part of something that I think has probably taken over our lives in the last few days, hasn't it, Alistair?
It is.
And the lives of many other people as well. So we broadcasted as part of Citizenfest, which is the combination of the We Are One Festival and No Labels, No Walls, and a massive amount of content and music and hopefully some laughter and discussions and workshops that's been going on since Monday, and we'll go until Saturday night when we'll finish with the Staplate Scotland DJ takeover on Zoom. So
yes, I've just set that up. I've just set that up at the moment. When it tells you to choose the duration of it, I thought I've just put it down till 2 a.m. because I thought there's no point pretending it's going to be any earlier than that.
Well, no, well that's all right then. That's good because we've got some let's call them aspiring DJs.
Yes, indeed. Oh, here we go.
He is one of them. He is one of them.
Here's one of them.
Chris is actually going to be on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Excellent. Send us in an image, Chris, because we'll add it to the website as well. Just while you're there, send us an image. That's good. So that's what's been happening, isn't it? And it's really interesting because if you go to the We Are One, if you see the We Are One program, and then some of that's replicated in the No Labels, No Walls program, so they're using some of the content. Yes. And then they've also got some other content which is additional to that. So you could actually literally almost spend most of your day watching content from We Are One and from No Labels, No Walls, and combining that at Citizenfest, and then come back next week and tell us what you think.
Yes. Once you've caught up on your sleep.
Yeah, really do that anyway. So
so
I don't need to ask you that question. Usually ask you that question, what have you been doing this week, Alistair, don't I?
You do. But because most of the places we've been together, haven't we, with a lot of stuff.
Virtually we have,
virtually, yes. No, it's so this is a virtual festival, isn't it, very much? And so the fact that the festival's been sort of like Europe, well, a lot of Helsinki, but other parts of Europe and America and Scotland and various parts around the world. So it is worth really checking out the varied program on the We Are One Citizenfest site, and also the No Labels, No Walls stuff, because there's a lot of really interesting, quite thoughtful topics, some really good music, art, etc. We've got a rock on here.
There's lots of good comments coming through there, including a link to the program as well, Alistair. So
a link to the program. Oh, I missed that. A link to the program. There's the program. Yes,
that's the program.
So that's the important one.
Yeah, some interesting stuff on tonight. I thought actually some interesting stuff around refugees and asylum seekers on tonight as well. So Something about Soul Sisters Cafe is on there. And then the end of the evening tonight, I think, is going to be a couple of the acts who were due to be on the Stay Up Late music session on Monday night.
Yes.
Where we had a couple of technical difficulties. So we're going to have a short film from Core Records. And we're also going to replay some of the Steel Squid Collective music. So
yeah.
So that's interesting. So before we go on,
I could share a couple of the program screens if you want.
Yeah. Go on then. Go on.
Go on then.
Go on.
Just to prove I can.
Yeah.
If it'll let me. It'll let me.
Okay.
Microsoft Edge tab. Yes. Here we go.
Okay.
It was doing it. Here's the Here's the Thursday. Here's tomorrow's We Are One.
Right. Good. Let's see then. So tomorrow again is a very busy program of varied events and activities.
Yeah. So
can't see
that?
No, can't see a thing. Can't see a thing.
Okay. That'll teach me to try and share screen. It did say it was going to do it. Let's try again. Let's try this.
Okay.
Share.
We've got it. Oh yes, here we are. That's good. That's good. So this is it. So is this tomorrow's program?
This is tomorrow's. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, who is that on at half? There's somebody else on at half. You're not back on at 1:30, are you, Alistair?
I am back on at 1:30. Yeah. Yeah, so lots of interesting stuff on tomorrow. So Simon,
a couple of early ones there, though. Seriously, aren't there? Because usually the day starts at 3:30, but just because of the level and amount of content, there's a couple of things that come on earlier. So you've got Simon on in the morning, and then the Simple Steps to Change at 1:30. Yeah.
So so it's worth just checking out all these lot of really interesting stuff. So we've got a wide variety of stories, interactive stuff. Michael Burns at 5:30. He's really interesting as well.
Yeah.
We've got just great stuff. And look, our guests today will be on at 7.
Yeah. Just go further up again.
Yeah, further.
Loads of stuff. I mean, tons of stuff. I mean, when I look at that, I think, I've forgotten that those things are on as well. That's great, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's really, really interesting. And tomorrow's theme is help, sort of giving and receiving help from others. Yeah. So that's that one. So and obviously there's even more stuff on Friday, but we could spend the whole day looking at stuff.
So let's not do that because we still have other things to do as well.
We do.
The only thing I was going to say was, see that band, the Rain Band? I mean, surely they must be from Scotland. I mean, I can't imagine it could be from anywhere else.
There's an extreme possibility that it could be. Yes. Yeah. I saw a post on Facebook that says that we just tell people it rains in Scotland to keep them away.
Yeah.
If only.
Yeah, we did. Well, I tell people all the time. Anyway, I tell myself all the time it's going to stop raining soon. Yeah, good.
So other stuff.
Yeah. So I wanted to just. So once this week is through, we have another week. That's the way the world goes. And next week, we are one of the things that we are involved in Control Scotland are involved in is a series of lunchtime sessions from Monday the 21st. Yeah, and the lunchtime sessions are sessions for anyone interested in how self-directed sport can work for children, young people, and families. So they're intended to be open sessions. So they're open sessions. They are sessions which will be done through Microsoft Teams. So that's going to be something a bit different for us because we've almost exclusively done all the things we've done online, either through platforms like this, streaming through Facebook or YouTube, or we've used Zoom. So we're using Microsoft Teams, and we're partly doing that because we are wanting to make it as accessible as possible to colleagues from local authorities. and I know that some of them aren't able to access Zoom meetings. So we've got 4 different sessions, and these are there. So if anybody is interested in coming along to any one of the sessions, please do. Are you going to share the individual, any of the individual agendas, Alistair?
I haven't got those uploaded yet, but
okay.
I could do while we chat about the other stuff. But I just thought we'd give you the overview here.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fine then. Yeah, so the first, Monday is called Taking the Next Steps. We've got an input from Callum Campbell from Social Work Scotland, talking about the Social Work Scotland work. We've got an overview from some of the workforce surveys that we've done on Monday. And then we also have I can't remember what's the third input we've got on Monday.
Gotta
look it up.
I can't get into my emails now that I'm sharing this because it's sharing it from my emails.
Okay.
But yes, we've got lots of input from a variety of folk on all the days. So they're just short lunchtime sessions as well. They're sort of 12 till 1:30, aren't they? So quite acceptable.
And each day's got a bit of presentation, and then the opportunity for discussion. And the final day is the day where we're going to have, where we're trying to make it a bit more of an open space altogether. So we'll have a panel put up there who we will use to do some short sort of provocations or some short reflections, and then we'll leave it more up to the participants really to use that open space as they want to on the final session on the Thursday. Wednesday's session is one about support planning specifically, and you and Dr. Danielle Farrell have got an input into that, haven't you, Alistair?
Indeed, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and on the Tuesday, you've also got an input because you're going to talk about the rights and equalities work a little bit with young people who have experience of the care system.
Yeah, lots of really good reflections on people's experience and what works and what helps, and ideas for the way forward there. So so these should be really good. So people should just go to the info@ email address for us and speak to June, and June will get you the login details for.
Yeah, June will send out the link once we've set it up. We haven't set it up yet. Once we set up the link, we'll send that out later this week to everybody who's expressed interest. And as we say, people can join either for one of them if they can only make one of them, or you can join for all of them, or you can come in and out with the ones that you think are most appropriate to you in the work that you're doing, or or your own personal experiences. Yeah. So that's next week.
That's
part of next week. That's something happening next week. Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Blimey. It's just non-stop, isn't it? It's non-stop. But and we've already had our Tuesday's talks, which was
really good, Alistair. You and Ewan were great, I thought.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I thought Ewan's story is very powerful. And so if anybody hasn't seen it, remember you can still get it on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And Ewan said that he's happy for us to share those videos. They're on his website. And obviously one of these things is about us. Then William's saying that we've got a problem with the video, but it looks like it's all right from here. Okay. So he's happy for people to use this as conversation starters. So that's another sort of free resource. So that's good.
Yeah, I think having just some short films like that is really good because it sort of gives people a focus as well, doesn't it, to think about that rather than just talking. It's great to have those films that you two have made together.
Yes, and that's another thing. So that is another thing. If anybody thinks that in control, that any of the stuff that we're doing, that we can help with anything, that's one of the tools that we've got, because we've got that software and another software called Toonly, which actually animates things more than just doing the drawings. It's a bit more involved to get it done, but we can do that as well. And one of the things, another brief thing before we invite Fionnathan on is just to say that at Feel Good Friday, as part of the Social Work Scotland work, we've been doing a bit of feedback about how we can make standards around about self-directed support really work. And so Feel Good Friday, part of our discussion was really us looking at rather than translating the Social Work Scotland standards, like people themselves were saying what standards they want. How could we do that, from scratch? So we're quite excited to kind of sort of collaborate with other people about making that happen as well.
So you're doing more work on this Friday, Alistair?
This Friday, yeah, this Friday. Feel Good Friday at 1 o'clock. Just 1 till 2.
Yeah, excellent, good. Okay, just remind people that if whatever they get the best signal on or the best picture, that they can actually access this on both the YouTube channels still at the moment, on the We Are One YouTube channel and also on the In Control Scotland YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Wherever you fancy. All right. Yeah. Shall we invite our guests on?
I think we should.
Here we go.
Hey.
Hello again.
How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Yes, keeping well.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Great to have you along. And you tell us where you are broadcasting in from. Where are you sitting today?
Our apartment. In Galway.
We're in Galway, Ireland.
Yeah, Galway, Ireland.
And it's a beautiful day here.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh wow, that's good. That's good. Yeah. We're doing well for international guests on our Wednesday webinar, aren't we, Alistair? Because last week we had Marcus from Finland on.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And well, that's anyway. The last 2 weeks we've had.
And last time we saw Marcus was when we saw both of you in person a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's
We
right.
Are One Fest.
Yeah. Well, we had Marcus on because we were asking him about No Labels, No Walls and We Are One linked together. So would you both like just to introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Fionn and this is my dad.
And my name is Jonathan and we are
Fionnathan.
So we're a father and son social enterprise. We've been operating for about 5 years.
Yes.
Since you finished secondary school.
Yeah.
When the regional disability officer came round to the house and sort of presented a menu of different day services available in the area, we said none of the above.
Right.
And we asked instead that the Department of Health give us direct funding so that we could do a family-led, self-directed support program. And you in Scotland are quite a ways ahead of us in Ireland. Fionn became the first person with a cognitive impairment in Ireland to manage his own funding. And that was about 5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and you made a smart employment hire.
Yes, I did. I hired my very awesome and handsome father.
That's a lovely thing.
You're not wearing your dad t-shirt today, though.
Say?
Oh,
You're actually t-shirt.
Yeah. I can't wear it every day. It has to go in the wash sometimes. So we've over these 5 years, we do this as a full-time endeavor, and partly it's just to pilot the system and to try out what it's like to be in control.
Yeah,
right.
Actually.
So we work in media and the arts and education.
Yeah.
And our lives have been changed a lot by the pandemic, as everyone's has, but we continue to do our work and we've got big plans for the future.
Yes, we do.
So I was going to say who's social and who's enterprise, really. There, but I mean, I think the time
a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
You're both. Excellent. Yeah. So do you want to tell us a bit about how things have changed really during the pandemic then for you? Because you probably had, in fact, weren't you doing things like World Congress and then that was off? And
yeah, indeed. So when the pandemic began, or just before that, where were we?
Well, before the pandemic began, we were in Canada.
We spent a month in Canada. We worked with community groups and universities in 3 cities, or near 3 cities. What were they?
Calgary and Toronto and Montreal.
All right.
Yes. So we had just returned home, and Fionn has his own apartment here in Galway, and you had it for 4 years. And then around the beginning of this year, the landlady wanted the place back. So when we returned, we didn't have a home in Galway.
Right.
So we were planning to go to our your childhood home.
Yes.
Where's that?
In rural County Clare.
So we were going to be there with your mother for a few days.
Yes.
And the few days, of course, turned into a few months.
Mm.
And it was a beautiful place to, if you have to be locked down somewhere, we had so much nature on our doorstep.
Yeah.
And we were out and about every day, walking down just quiet fields with lots of wildlife. And we saw spring come on in a way that we never have before. Visiting lakes and things. We had 2.5 kilometers was the space that we had in the first weeks. And gosh, we have a lot in our immediate area. And as you say, we had quite a bit of work that was either canceled or rescheduled. So the first one was World Down Syndrome Day, where you were supposed to be where?
In Geneva.
The United Nations for a conference there, and you did end up giving a short version online. Do you remember the name of your talk that you presented?
Yes. It's called Bad Choices.
Bad choices.
So Fionn gave some examples of some bad choices that you've made over the years. And of course, the point being that if you have the right, the opportunity to make mistakes, then that says something about the amount of control that you have in your own life.
Yeah,
we all should be able to make plenty of bad choices.
Absolutely, and we could all. Can we all do the presentation?
I'm sure. So we also had a trip to the University of South Carolina. That was postponed for a year. The National Down Syndrome Society of the United States was to have an adult summit in Phoenix, Arizona, and that went online. So we did give that presentation. And we had a whole lot of a number of conferences, a lot of visits to schools, primary schools that were canceled. Do you want to say what we usually do when we visit the children?
We teach them about the mammals of Ireland.
So Fionnathan is the youngest heritage expert on the Heritage in Schools panel. So they commission us to travel all around Ireland, visiting primary schools. Well, they usually do. Of course, all that's been put on hold. Unfortunately, though the children are back in school here, I think there's a blanket ban on visiting teachers. So they're working on putting together some online programs. And we did do what was the film that we made during the early lockdown?
Yes. So we did a garden BioBlitz.
A back garden BioBlitz film. That was shown for school children. And then late in about halfway through, I suppose, at the end of May, when when people were allowed to move a bit more, we came in and within one day found a wonderful new apartment.
Yes.
So we're back in Galway now. And what do you want to say about your apartment?
Well, I love it. I mean, we get to go swimming in the sea every morning.
We go swimming in the sea every morning.
Yeah.
It's just over there.
Yeah.
Right.
5-minute walk.
It's amazing. Yeah, I've got two questions in a statement.
Okay.
So the statement is, it's a long, long way from Clare to here.
Yes.
Right? And the two questions are, did you mean, is that going all the way around Ireland that you do that, all around all Ireland schools?
The Heritage in Schools project.
Yeah.
It's everywhere in Ireland.
Yes, it is.
We've visited probably something close to 100 schools now. Wow. And we've visited only about a half dozen outside of Ireland.
Yeah.
We haven't visited any schools in Scotland, but we met some teachers in Scotland who invited us to visit a school. Yeah. We've done school visits in England, in the United States, in Canada, and in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely get that Scotland bit sorted.
Oh yeah, we'd love that.
We'll get you to some schools in Scotland.
a lot of the wildlife is, of course, is shared between the two countries.
Yeah.
Right. I think you have a few more species than we do, though.
Really. Fionn, I was going to ask you, this is my other question. What is your favourite mammal of Ireland? That was the other question.
Oh, okay. Well, I got many favorites. If I was to pick one, I would choose the fox because we recently saw one. Actually,
we did. We've seen a few foxes during the lockdown. We have a camera trap, and that was one of the fun things we did was set up the trap, put a few chicken bones nearby, and the next morning come and see if we captured any animals, and we did capture a fox in that.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And you saw a fox just last week.
I did.
When we walked down to the Galway Bay, there was one there when we were going swimming.
Yes.
Yeah. And what did we see yesterday during our swim? This was really exciting.
Oh yeah. We saw a seal.
Did you?
Yes.
It's only the first time that we've seen a seal. About 100 swims we've made now, and this seal was only about 20 meters from us in the water. It was so exciting.
And did the seal have a wetsuit on?
No.
No,
but he does have blubber on. That's certain.
Oh yeah, well, that's better. That's better, isn't it?
You need it in the cold water.
We should ask a question, Alistair.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, going back to your bit about the bad choices, I'm really interested in that because that comes back to that language thing about choices. Things that don't work out are seen as bad, but the experience, obviously, of making the choice is good, and we all learn from the stuff that doesn't work out, and so you can't really move on without making choices and trying things that don't work out. And I guess that's something else that we've talked about a lot before is we've got our sort of resource on In Control's website, sort of Risking a Real Life. And one of the things we talk about there is that people often, professionals are often more uptight about things that they enable, that they let happen, that they, if you ask for something, than saying no to something that might help you to move on. So, for example, if you came and said, I'm going to go to different parts of the world and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, sometimes people might actually find it easier to say no to that than saying yes to it because they're so worried about what might go wrong rather than what you might achieve. And I just wondered about your thoughts on that.
Do you want to talk about what we often say to college students? These are social care students who we give lectures, guest lectures at university, and we often make a point about people who are going into the profession of care, right? Support.
Yes.
And we talk about who their real boss is.
Yeah. Well, I think that the people that they are serving. So the person the person that's in front of them that they serve actually is their boss.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the person that signs the paycheck, it's not really your boss. Actually, it's the person that's in front of you is your boss.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we point out that maybe sometimes there might be conflict between your official employer and your real boss, like the person, the person because of whom you have a job, right?
That power balance is all wrong, isn't it? I mean, when I worked for a provider, I made sure that people were part of the interview from the start, and it was this is the person who's going to be making a judgment about whether or not you get the job. They're going to be involved in your recruitment, your induction, all that stuff. And so you have a line manager, but the power needs to be equal and right or all the way through, rather than this idea that you've got a line manager and then you've got somebody who you go and support, but that's not that balance is still all wrong so many places, isn't it?
Mm. We embraced the opportunity to manage your funding directly, but we're not that enamored of it, to be honest. We feel like it would be good. It's good to have professionals, of course, and it's good to have wisdom of experience and to have a stronger voice when you're collective. There's so many reasons why it's problematic to have personal budgets. Give everybody the money. One of the big ones, of course, is that the government can then say, "Oh, well, that's it for us. You're in charge now. We're not responsible for the outcomes." And so we worry about that. But at the same time, money talks. And it's so important for Fionn to be able to say, clearly, I'm the boss here. Like you run a business, right?
Yes.
And delivering supports to a person is one part of what the business is.
Yes, this awesome, handsome guy right beside me.
I'm the employee for doing that.
Yes, you are.
But we do, as well as our world travels and giving lectures, we create films, we do music performances, we produce artwork, we do a lot of community work. So we want to show what's possible. But the HSE says, "Oh, you're doing all that with our money." And I say, well, you can tell yourself that, but your part of the budget is very small, so we've created something much bigger, small but essential. And we have talked to a lot of families about the good and bad of going your own way, if you can prise the money out of their hands. But one of the most important things is that they listen then. They take you much more seriously.
And that has been one of the challenges, Keith, that we've been talking about for many years, is getting that level of control, that balance of being able to choose your destiny, being able to be flexible about how you use your support, but not necessarily having to do all the donkey work of managing the cash and stuff, because it's not for everybody. And the whole reason in Scotland that we've got 4 options is that we should be able to have that level of power and control. But with whichever option, absolutely. And it's still not there yet, though.
No, it's not there yet. No. So, are there other people in Ireland who are following on from you two in terms of taking more control over their budget and spending their money like that?
Well, so I was on the personal budget task force.
Yeah. The government put together a task force to look at personal budgets. Now I think there's Well, there, of course, like a lot of things in terms of the disability rights movement, it was the people with physical disabilities who led the way in terms of, in this case, personal budgets. But now there's a handful of people. The government has just before the pandemic started a scheme, a pilot project of 100 people, giving them their own budgets, but in different ways, maybe similar to the 4 models you have there, as a 1-year trial. And then they were going to start another group of 100 people a year later. I mean, some people say that it's very rare for a government project to have no funding, but this one does. So they've only said people who already have money that's in their name in a traditional service, that money can be taken out. But regardless of any assessment that might be done of needs, that's the only money that they can work with. So there are some people who are saying this is a poison pill, and perhaps the government really doesn't want to do this and has set it up in a way to fail. But at least it's some movement, and we're watching. So there's a little bit. As I say, we get a lot of contact from families asking for advice, and we always freely give it. Anybody who's listening who would like to learn more from our experience is welcome to contact us.
That's fantastic, and we would say, if we can reciprocate in any way, if there's anything that you want to link up with families in Scotland or actually in other places in terms of other work that we're doing, we should definitely think about that.
Because
we're involved in this thing called the Skills Project, which is a European project around self-directed support and European funded. So there are partners in Finland, in Italy, in Greece, as well, and also the Centre for Welfare Reform in England. So anyway, we can maybe think about that out with this broadcast, and just think about ways that we can link you to some other people who I'm sure you'd find interesting as well.
We'd love that.
Yeah, excellent. But we know Alistair, don't we? Because we saw you last year, and then we've seen it. You came onto the State Blade music session on Monday. We know that Fionnathan well, actually, so much more than the things that you've been able to tell us about so far. We saw some of your amazing artwork on Monday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a piece you want to show right now?
I do, actually,
I don't know if this was part of the collection we showed, but here's a piece. Put it close to the camera. Has done this in multiple versions, but it's the idea, you know, of circles of support, of course. And we thought that it needs to be rethought. We problematized circles of support because, of course, the person in the middle is often quite passive, and they talk about this circle all giving their energy to the person in the middle. And we know that's a lie. That's ridiculous. The person in the middle gives as much to the people around. And besides that, there's not one type of person who needs to be in the middle of a circle of support. Every person needs and has, hopefully, circles of support. So what's not shown are the many circles raying out. And when you think that this person on the periphery has a circle around them that you can kind of see there, you realize, oh yeah, and this person is not just a receiver of support, but a provider of support. That we all provide for our community. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes our artwork has a message to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure all of it has a message to it. I think that maybe that's what it. Sometimes you take your own messages as well, don't you, from the best arts? But that sounds, that's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so what you've got planned for Thursday night session?
Yeah, we're showing a couple of films.
Yes,
and one is called Pigeon. What's that one about?
It's about it's about one afternoon,
a hot summer day,
a
couple of years ago.
Yeah, a pigeon all the way from Dublin, actually, flew down to County Clare because it was scared by a sparrow hawk.
And it walked right into our house.
Yes,
we
it
had
did.
The door open, and in walked the pigeon.
Yeah.
And it had a tag on it, and we researched it, and an adventure that will be shown in that little 2-part film unfolded.
Yeah.
And the other film we're showing is a short synopsis of the 600 interviews that Fionn has done, called
What We Love.
Yeah, but what's the question that you asked each of those 600 people?
Oh, the question that I ask people is, what do you love about your life?
Yeah, and we have a YouTube channel with all 600 videos on it. And this is just a few of the, I suppose, most famous people that you've interviewed, or some of the most interesting ones from around the world, 12 countries, movie stars, filmmakers, musicians. It's a lot of fun. So that little film is some of the highlights from that series. And if anyone would like to check us out more, that's all on a YouTube channel. We do a lot on Facebook, social media, website. All you have to remember is one word.
Fionnathan.
We're the only Fionnathan on the World Wide Web. So that makes us easy to find.
So, and for William's benefit, you're on. It's tomorrow night. It's at 7, and it'll be on the We Are One Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So you've done 600 of them. He said. So you must have started that quite a long time ago, then.
Do you remember when you first started?
Who was your very first person you did that with? Can you remember that one?
It started with a small project.
It did, yeah. Oh, so it all started. So it was a fundraiser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It started out as a fundraiser for a group of cyclists called the Tour de Monster.
Actually, they were doing the fundraising.
Yeah, they were,
for Down Syndrome Ireland. And we realized that a lot of these cyclists don't know anyone with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So the first group of people that we asked that question, what do you love about your life?
Was to people with Down syndrome all around County Clare.
Yeah. So we made a short film, just 8 people, but we wanted to get a real variety to show that Down syndrome, of course, gender, age, capabilities. We wanted to make sure that even people who don't have speech could be interviewed. And so Fionn asked, what do you love about your life? And if the person speaks, that's fine. And if they didn't, that's fine too, because we would show them surfing, baking, playing with their dog, all of these things that they said they love about their lives.
Greyhounds, right?
Racing greyhounds, driving a car, all kinds of great things.
Yeah.
And then it got picked up by a national television show.
Yeah, by RTE.
Yeah, called Saturday Night Show. The Saturday Night Show. Yeah. And that was kind of the kickstart. We said the night before we were going to be on television, we said, well, we should give them you always want to give an ask, like we're promoting our new film or something.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a film of that sort. So we started a Facebook page and we came up with the name, Fionnathan.
Yes.
And the next day we had 1,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Superb. That is really great. And what a brilliant mix of breaking the stereotypes and demonstrating, not by talk but by action. You're living your life, you're telling people about your experiences, and you're showing the experiences of others to improve people's perceptions of what people can do with their time, with their money, with their skills and gifts, and how we can all work together and not see some people as receiving support and others as giving it. We're all citizens, we're all equal, which is part of what the whole Citizenfest message is.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We are so glad to be a part of this.
Yes.
Yeah. And that goes back to a little bit of artwork as well. It goes nice into that circle, doesn't it? Which is what you were talking about there.
Yeah.
And are those? Is that film, the very first film, is that still available if we look for it in Fionnathan?
Yeah. That's on our, what is it called? Fionnathan Presents.
Fionnathan presents What Do You Love?
That's the actual YouTube channel. Okay. And the original one is on there. Yeah. Somewhere amongst the 600. Yeah. And we're going to do a new kind of greatest hits. The one that you'll see on Thursday is from 2 years ago. Yeah. And we've done loads of interviews since then. So so we need to do an updated. And we plan to publish a book as well. Fionna's working on sketch portraits of the people whose interviews we want to print. Yeah. So we have publishing plans and lots of plans for the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's really what we were going to ask you that question. We were going to. You've nicely moved into the question we were going to ask, really, which is what are your plans for the future, and how do you think? What is it that you're looking forward to doing once we get back into some sort of new?
We have an announcement to make, actually, but let's wait for the train.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Which way is that one going?
Going to Galway, so it's the Galway train, so it's going to Galway
into the city centre.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a big announcement.
Yes, it's called Zoosophy.
Right. It's our new project. And it's a new word, of course. We love new words. And zoosophy we thought was really good, because when you have osophy on the end of a word, like philosophy, it comes from the name Sophia, who is, of course, wisdom. So rather than calling it zoology, which is kind of a dry and cold study of animals, zoosophy is about the love of animals, and an embracing of our relationship with animals.
And doesn't Sophia mean wisdom in Latin?
It does. Yeah, ancient Greek.
Ancient Greek.
Yes. So we don't know exactly what it is. We've been working on it for months now. We know that it'll have interviews. We know that it'll have lots of animals. That in fact, today we posted on our Facebook page a tune you played for a goat. A very appreciative goat. So it'll have music in it, and we think it's going to be a podcast as well as a video channel. So all about our love of animals and people. And people of the world. We don't know how much traveling we're going to do in the future. Of course, none of us do. But there's so much to learn and to share in the immediate area. So Fionn's love of animals has really been a key element to what we've done over these 5 years.
Well, really, to be exact, the love of animals and plants.
All of nature. Right. So we want to front and center that and share it with other people who love animals. So that's our big project coming.
Okay. Well, you're getting lots of comments there saying people are looking forward to that, or they can't wait to see that, or
oh wow,
wonderful. So they can. We haven't launched yet, but just by looking at our Fionnathan website or the Fionnathan Facebook page, we'll be making announcements about that.
Okay. We normally finish this about now, don't we, Alistair? Because we keep our Wednesday webinar to about 45 or so minutes. We're quite happy just to run on a little bit today because this is a very special edition. Webinar. I know you're going to finish off with something else for us, aren't you? But just any final things you want to say to us before we go as well.
Want to start, or will I?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that it's wonderful that we have found you. That a lot of what we're doing is experimental, and and maybe we're getting a lot of it wrong. We're making a lot of bad choices along the way. And sometimes it feels right, but knowing if something is wrong or right really depends on having other people to be able to share with and to reflect on with, and to share stories. So it's wonderful. We were very happy that that things happened in such a way that we met each other last year, and thank you for inviting us back again. And we look forward to continuing to work with you year in, year out.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, we everybody loves Fionnathan. So seriously, everybody loves Fionnathan.
It's very sweet.
Yes. Well, well, I wanted to say that I really like you lads, and also I love the whole wide world that's out there, and I hope that our paths will cross in the future.
Brilliant.
Excellent. No, we've no doubt that they will. We'll Alistair, do you want to model our lovely Staplate face masks?
Oh, look at this. Here we go.
Staplate Scotland face masks. I don't know whether you've seen face coverings. Have you seen?
Oh, we've seen a few.
Oh, yeah.
Not these.
That looks cool, man.
Okay. We'll send you some. We'll send you a couple of face masks. Hopefully, we get them made.
All right. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
Great for walking into banks with.
Yeah, but the only problem, they're quite warm. I actually had mine on yesterday and I went in the shop. They are quite warm, those ones. We'll just remind people of a couple of things and before we finish off with you as well. So this week everything's happening in Citizenfest, Alistair, and people can see the program as we put up earlier. On Friday you've got Feel Good Friday still at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So if you haven't been before, just give us a shout and I'll give you the Zoom code for that.
Yeah. We've also next week got our lunchtime sessions that we mentioned earlier. We'll be back next Wednesday with another webinar Wednesday. If we've woken up after the festival, maybe.
I don't think we've even been to bed by then.
Yeah, maybe the DJ sessions will still be going on, Alistair. And that's it. So here we are. A big round of applause for the that's what June is saying to you. And I'm sure that having you on here today has brightened up a lot of people's days and will brighten up people's evenings when they watch it, because we actually get most watchers of this in the evening, don't we, Alistair? People tend to watch it not live but watch it later in the day. So okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for being on. So we're just going to hand over to you and say you've been great guests.
Thank you. Do you want to say one last thing about our names?
I do, yes. Just remember of Fionnathan. We like to call it Fear Nothing.
It sounds a lot like that, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely, yeah.
Fear nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds exactly the same, doesn't it?
Indeed. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.